Hey guys, my name is Danny and I haven't been posting on this channel for like a really long time, but I sort of had the urge to start documenting my process when it comes to learning Japanese. I've been studying Japanese for quite a while, since October of last year. I've been kind of doing it sporadically, but I think in around March, I have been doing it very consistently and sort of keeping a plan, sort of just having a consistent sort of study plan and pattern that I've been using for a while. That's been, honestly helpful, helping me stay with the language. So practicing and engaging with the language every day, which I think that's, kind of the most important thing about language learning. But I kind of wanted to sort of document the process from when I started to where I am now, and sort of just to help me kind of see, okay, this is where I started, and then later on I can actually see how far I've progressed. But hopefully I could make these videos at a somewhat consistent basis, just to kind of keep myself updated and you guys updated with what I'm doing, because it's been pretty interesting studying a language sort of mainly through the internet, primarily only using free resources and textbooks that I could find, and I sort of wanted to share more or less how I got here. Obviously I'm nowhere near fluent. I can barely read most kanjis, but I can understand the entirety of the kana. So I know the hiragana and katakana. I know maybe about 150 kanji, or like 100 kanji, some lowball number. And I've honestly really been enjoying this process. I wanted to say, when I started, I started like most people. I want to know Japanese, so what's the easiest way to get into it? And Duolingo was like one of the things I've been super used to. I've used it before, and I thought it was super easy just to kind of get into the whole like studying every day and keeping a streak consistent. Obviously Duolingo isn't the most effective way of learning Japanese. I mean, it's not like a horrible app, but it's not like you're not gonna get fluent with it, and you're also not going to make a lot of progress if you were using other methods, right? It is possible to learn Japanese with Duolingo, but it's just not effective, especially with the amount of time it sort of requires. Sort of the app does a lot of things to slow your progress, the ads and sort of the whole repetition, and it's kind of, there's a lot of problems with Duolingo. I can talk about it for like hours, and I can make another video for it, but it's, it's good to get your foot in the door, get you started, get you sort of used to the language. And it's really good to learning the kana, actually, because I think it has a really nice sort of method of having all of the letters sort of in a grid, and you sort of go through them by rows, similar to how you would actually study it, right? One of the way I've learned the kana very quickly was this PDF in Tofugo, where it's like it has the kana, and then it has like a little drawing or a figure of what it sort of represents. I can't remember of one right now, but like for example, the katakana ra, or ra, that one looks like a dinosaur or something like that, like a mouth of a dinosaur open, and that's sort of, that helped me remind me of what ra looks like, something like that. And it's little things like that, so you kind of have to find what are the strengths and weaknesses, and just sort of not sticking to one tool. I feel like that's really important for me, because then after I realized when Duolingo was like not the best, I still kept using it, but then I was listening to what other YouTubers are saying and what people online were talking about. A lot of people were recommending, download Anki instead. I'm like, okay, well then I'll try out Anki. It took me a long time. Actually, it took me a lot of research and sort of watching videos and reading blogs to sort of get the most out of Anki, because Anki is not specifically for learning Japanese, but a lot of people who study Japanese use it for flashcards and learning what's the best flashcards to use. I tried out a couple and I found one that I really like. That's like only 1,500 words. It's very popular. It's with the one with the cute little Japanese illustrations. I'm blanking out on the name on it, but I'll put it on the description, because I think it's really good. I liked it, and that helped me a lot just to kind of get used to the kana and the kanji, because that's like the biggest hurdle for me, was to sort of, I was intimidated by the writing system because it is intense. It is a lot. It's 3 different writing systems and it's all just very confusing and is very different from what I'm used to. Another thing that I don't know, a lot of people just don't like textbooks, I've noticed. You know, people prefer comprehensible input, like, oh, just listen to things and that's it, that's all you need. Just listen to Japanese and eventually you'll get it. Which, that's fine, but I much prefer understand like the grammar, and I prefer to understand what they're talking about before I start just, you know, blindly listening to it. So textbooks have been like really great for me. I mean, I enjoy the fact that you can just know the structure and things about the language, like the core basics of like why they talk in this way. Because Japanese, as compared to English, they have a completely different sentence structure, right? I believe it's subject, object, verb. So like for a lot of the sentences, the verb is on the last part, where in English would be subject, verb, object. So it's like, it's totally different. So when you're like, let's say you're watching anime and you're looking for English subtitles, right? You're watching anime with English subtitles. Everything is like in reverse, right? So if the verb is early in the sentence, when the Japanese are speaking, the verb is at the end. So it's like, you can't do like a one-to-one translation, because it's a completely different sentence structure and completely different grammatical structure. So it's like, it's really hard to sort of pick up and understand and sort of piece together just by looking and reading the subtitles. So that's why a lot of people recommend to sort of learn how to read Japanese, so you can, at least when you're watching anime, you can read the subtitles, and that improves like your listening while also you're reading at the same time. I think it's all in steps, right? So that's why I like reading textbooks, because I really want to pick up the language and reading it. Like, I want to read it. I want to understand what they're saying by mainly just reading it and listening it. And I feel like if I learn at least 90% of what's written down, like in subtitles, I can sort of listen better. So it's like, if there's a word that they say really fast, because obviously Japanese people speak really fast and they sort of omit a lot of things. So with subtitles, hopefully I could just, oh, okay, they said this. And then later on I will train, my ear will just get used to the sounds and stuff. Another thing, how I've been using textbooks is that the textbook I'm using is Genki, like the first one. And why I use Genki is because it actually includes a audio sort of app. There's an app from, I think, the Times Japan. You can download for free, and you can actually listen to a lot of the example sentences from Genki. So as you're reading and studying grammar, you can also listen to how the words are spoken and how it sounds, and it just helps you sort of a lot with my comprehension. I mean, I really do enjoy just finding out new words, looking at different ways of sentence structures, and grammatical structures, and I just love figuring it out and just listening to it and sort of, piecing it together. And then what's important from what I'm listening to, I have to sort of listen to other Japanese content, listening it in the wild, and sort of, oh, okay, I've heard this before, or I saw this in my textbook, and now it's sort of helping me, acquire that little piece of language. I think I'm just more focusing on acquiring little bits of the language every day. So it's not really about like getting super fluent, but it's more like an understanding. And I think I prefer understanding a little bit every day. I don't know, because it helps me feel like I'm progressing. I don't know, like you're filling up that XP bar bit by bit, and it's been really fun. I guess the last thing I kind of used every day for like learning is I really got into Japanese learning YouTube, which is the reason why I'm making this video. I've gotten a lot out of people talking about their experience with learning the language, sort of their different studying methods, what they use to kind of get better, what things have worked, what things hasn't worked, some of the pitfalls. And I know there's a lot of debate and kind of back and forth for what is the best methods. I know right now a big thing is sort of comprehensible input, which I have a little bit of reservations with. To be brief, I think it's a good method. I think it helps a lot with comprehension and getting to the point where you can just understand what they're saying pretty fast. My issue is with it. You need to know, from what I understand, you need to know at least 90% of what they're speaking in order for you to get any benefit out of comprehensible input. Because if you don't understand any of it, or if you don't understand like maybe 60%, 70%, most of it is going to be gibberish, and you're not going to understand what they're saying. And I think what's important when you're listening to something is that it has to be understandable. Like, you just need to know what they're saying. And the big issue in comprehensible input is that it is not necessarily clear when is the point of most of it, but you don't know like a little bit. So that is when you can actually get the most out of it. So there's this thing called I+1, right? Where it's like you understand, but you understand most of it, but there's a little bit that you don't get. So with the majority of with context, you can sort of fill in the gaps and say, oh, okay, I know the majority of these words. Maybe I don't know this one, but looking at the context, it probably means something like this. I guess I believe that's the idea. I don't know. Yell at me in the comments if I'm wrong. But that's sort of what I feel like it's kind of missing. Being clear is like, okay, so when can you move on? Like, when can you listen to something that is like mostly comprehensible, but you're missing a couple of words? I don't know. It just sounds like to me that you just need to learn the majority of the words being spoken in the content in order for you to get the most out of it. So I think comprehensible input is cool. I think it works, but with the asterisk of you just need to know like a lot beforehand. You just need to know a lot. So yeah, those are my thoughts. It's pretty rambly. I've been only doing this for I haven't been doing this for years, so I'm really bad at shooting videos, but hopefully this helps someone. Hopefully it confuses someone. I have no idea what's going on. But anyway, I will try to make more videos sort of talking about other thoughts. I have other thoughts and ideas about learning Japanese. So I might make another video in the future. So anyway, see ya.